So I left the life I had known in the middle of the night. No one seemed to care that I was leaving. And it felt really, really lonely. And that's the point. That's part of the destroy your life. So I came back and stayed in an old farmhouse that belonged to someone in the family. So I had a place to be. And things were a little better for a short time, but then it's picked up again. But what's important to know about this part is after I had been here, I was still dealing with the blister on my toe. And over the time that I had it while I was in Colorado, I would put medicine on it and change the Band-Aid, and that would keep it from, I wasn't going out and hiking 10 miles, so that would make it bearable, and I dealt with it. I just put up with it. But in 2011, or I mean, this is still 2010, sorry. In late June or early July, I took a look at that toe really good, and I thought, this blister's got to go. It wasn't as bad as it had been initially because I'd been medicating it, but it was still there. And so I drained it, and after I drained it, it seemed like there was these layers of scabby material in there. And I got a needle and I started picking at it. I thought, I think there's something in there. And of course, initially you think that you picked up, a little sticker or something. You live in the country, you get that kind of stuff. I didn't walk barefoot in the mountains. It's too rocky there. But I thought, I'm just going to keep digging and see if I can find out what's causing this blister. So I dug and I dug, and it took several days. It hurt, but it didn't hurt enough that I wasn't going to try to find the cause. And once I dug down there deep enough, and I had to go pretty deep, all of a sudden I see this little teeny square, little white square, and I thought, that looks like a chip. It looks like a little white chip in there. And so I got my tweezers and I dug it out carefully, and when I got it out, it jumped like somebody was activating it. It literally jumped. And I corralled it and I put it in a plastic bag. I saved it. But I had a problem later on because I found another little white chip on the floor in the house where I was that looked like it. I put that in a bag, and so I'm not sure which one I have at this point. When you move so much, things get... I'm not the most organized person. I was always kind of random, and what they've done to me makes you more random because I'm messing with your brain. I'm messing with your nervous system. So I dug that little white chip out, and I medicated it, put Band-Aid on it, and little by little that toe healed and went back to being normal, totally normal. And then sometime after that, my big toe started acting funny. I didn't have a huge watery blister the way I had had with the other toe, but it was blistery kind of, and it enlarged on the side. And it was hard to get to because it was on the side facing my other toes. It wasn't on the outside where I could reach it real easily. So I started digging in there. and I dug and I dug for several days again with a needle. I operated with a needle, and I dug something out that was a ½ inch long. I don't have it right here to show you, but I have it. And I did post it on Facebook. There are two copies of it, two pictures of it on Facebook. So I had something in 2 of my toes. Now, when were they put in? I don't know. I had my tonsils out when I was 6, so I was under when I was 6. I had all of my wisdom teeth taken out at the same time, but I wasn't completely out. They gave me something that made me really, 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 really woozy, but I didn't feel what was going on. But I was still laying there, semi-awake. So I don't think anything was done to my toes then because it wasn't really out. I passed out twice. Once trying to give blood, and once when they were trying to put a needle in to take blood samples. So one of those was at a gym of a school, and I woke up on a table. And the second one was at a doctor's office, and I ended up, I was sitting in the chair and I ended up on the floor. So I was out those times. I did massages after I was really sick in 2004 and had a large tumor removed. I did massages. Now, I was out in 2004 for major surgery. I had a huge abdominal tumor that had come from one of my ovaries. And after that surgery is when I started to have the clicking sounds in my ear, my right ear particularly. That should not have happened. And I have heard Magnus Olsson in Sweden talk about what happened to him after he had his surgeries, how his life changed. So I had the surgery, so I was out for that. I had massage at several different places. One of my quote-unquote friends actually encouraged me to go to some place I'd never been. I had a regular lady that I worked with that I trusted. This other place was new and different, and my friend she really liked the gal that she had, and the one I had was kind of a jerk. So when people are working on your feet, even if you're not unconscious, they would have the ability to slip small things in, possibly. Somebody came up behind me and I believe put something into my shoulder at one point, because at the time that happened, I thought it was really, really weird. And then having figured out that this person probably has been involved in what's been going on with me, that at some point that shoulder, I could feel something there, and I dug something out. I was having nosebleed problems, which I hadn't really had before. And I don't know if something was put in my sinus during the surgery or not, but that's a possibility. I was having nosebleed problems, and I blew my nose, and something came out in the blood because I didn't have nosebleed problems after that. So there's been stuff in my body. Before I retired from teaching, on the back of my left leg, right in the center of the calf, about just equidistant from the knee and the ankle, and equidistant from the left and the right side, just right in the center, almost exactly. I found this little spot, and I thought, well, what is that? It looked a little scabby. I tried to pick it off, and I couldn't. And I picked at it, and I picked at it, and then it almost seemed like it was plastic, and it was embedded in there. And I picked at it, and I picked at it, and I couldn't get it off of there. And I didn't take my needle to it. I wasn't doing surgery with needles then. I should have. I don't know if I could have gotten it out myself or not. But when I started having the screaming sirens in my head, then my skin started going wonky, and one of the places it went wonky was on that leg around the area where that little thing was. Almost like it was related somehow to what was happening. And so I came back. When I came back to Ohio, I had some major skin eruptions, and I didn't know about Morgellons then. And I don't know that it is or was Morgellons. I also, before I had shingles in 2007, in 2006, a wart appeared on the inside of my left knee. So I had that thing on the back of my left leg and a wart on the inside of my left knee, and I had the stuff in my toes on the right side. That wart came out of nowhere. I never had one, and it just appeared. It was really strange. Lots of strange stuff, weird stuff, yeah. And I would try to pick at it, and any time I would pick at it, it would just kind of recreate itself. And so it appeared the year before I had shingles, and then when I was reading about shingles, I saw, how that's all connected. So when I got back here, while I was still living in that first old farmhouse, I went to see a doctor. I was getting pressured to get an MRI, to be on medication because I was hearing strange noises in my head. And that doctor likes to cut things off people that don't belong there. So she took that place off the back of my leg, and she took the wart off, and the wart's never come back. And I'm really grateful to her for that. I have had more problems with the back of my left leg. I guess I call it blowing up. After that came out of there, everything kind of healed for a while, and then I had more eruptions in that area, and then it got better, and just within over the several years, it's been on and off. But there was something in the back of my left leg, and I don't know when it was put there, was shot in there with, they have little things they can use. At the same time, I stayed at the house of the lady in Lyons that had the health food store. Also went to the gas station while I was there, and that's where I experienced the first little handheld weapon where the gal she had it in her hand next to me at the gas station when I was paying for gas. And when I got back in the car, my face was extremely red. So I knew that that it was a handheld energy weapon of some type. Also had that happen at a grocery store. I've been attacked at the grocery store twice when I was aware of it and actually saw the weapons, and then a couple more times when I didn't see the weapons, but I felt within my body. It was the same guy at the grocery store. Also saw the handheld weapon when I was at a dairy bar in Manchester, Ohio. The guy had it out and used it on me. I felt my heart jump. I turned around, and he was sliding it back into his pocket. And they're about the size of a really small cell phone, silver in color. They're the ones that I have seen. Um, so I left Colorado under duress, dug stuff out of my toe, went to see a doctor, got stuff cut off my leg, um, moved from that farmhouse to another farmhouse. The whole thing was a setup. I was forced out of the farmhouse, a threat of calling the sheriff on me, and I hadn't done anything to warrant calling a sheriff on me, and the threat of that was delivered to somebody else in the family via email, and it's somebody I couldn't figure out why they were contacting that person when I was right there. So there was a whole setup to get me into the house that I moved into, which was an old farmhouse. There's a lot of what went on there, but I lived there from September of 2010 to October of 2011. September 2011, October 2011. It took me longer than it was supposed to get my house loan done. Watching my time, let's see. Okay. I was surrounded. They had tripped out the house where I moved to really well, and that was another struggle and survival. Meantime, I got my iPad and started doing a lot more research. I really wasn't on the computer much from April 2010 until early 2011. I didn't have internet access. I had a cell phone that I used, a BlackBerry. So I was pretty much offline, and there's some good about that, and some not so good when you need to identify what's going on in your life. In 2011, as I'm leaving to go visit my mother one day and stopped and picked up the mail, I received a letter in the mail, which I gave the original to an investigator who was supposed to be an investigator, but I paid him some money, then I didn't really get my money's worth. I think it was more setup. It was mailed from Columbus, Ohio on May 19th. It's addressed to my original married name. My first husband, I took his name when we married, and after he cheated on me with a younger woman and we divorced, I took my maiden name back, which is Bradford. It's also addressed to the wrong town for the address where I was living. The zip code is right, but the town is incorrect. I don't know if they didn't really know my address. I don't know who sent it. But here's the message. You are alone because you alienate everyone you contact. In the meantime, your ex is enjoying his freedom, not to mention all the married divorcee widows that will coming, they left B out, to his lovely house to play and party. It was a lovely house. He designed it and we had it built. We paid it off. You once again were outsmarted by the man. Who's the man? Is there a man? Is it the intelligence community man? Is it the military community man? Is it somebody else in government? Is it a corporate man? You know, I showed this to someone, and he said that the purpose of it was to undermine my belief in myself, my self-confidence, and that's destroy lives. You know, when you're working really hard at destroying lives, that's what you do.